Okay, what would be the purpose of the
to become a thought?
The aware screen becoming
a thought,
overlooking its nature and becoming a separate self? You see, from the point of view of the aware screen, in this metaphor, the screen, it is an aware screen. Yeah? It's the screen that is watching the movie that is taking place on it. From the point of view of the aware screen, it never ceases to know its own being. It's only from the point of view of the illusory character that the screen seems to be missing. In other words, what is the point, what is the purpose of ignorance from the point of view of the screen? The screen doesn't know ignorance. The sun cannot cease to illuminate itself. The sun cannot know darkness. So from the point of view of awareness, there is no ignorance. Ignorance is only such from the illusory point of view of ignorance. In other words, from the illusory point of view of the imaginary self that seems to have turned its back on its source. So what is the purpose of ignorance? There isn't one. However, at a more relative level, so no, I can say one other thing. You said in your question, does awareness have to seem to become a separate self in order to know itself again? No, it doesn't. It's a common misunderstanding that awareness needs the body-mind in order to become aware of itself. This is a hugely anthropocentric view of ourself, that somehow the human body-mind is required by infinite awareness to know its own being. It's not. It is, and it's something that's difficult to understand. Not so much to understand, but to really deeply take in this fact of experience, that it is awareness that is aware. A body-mind is not aware. It's awareness alone that is aware. Really ponder that. We think it is I, the body-mind, that is aware. And therefore awareness somehow needs to be aware as the body-mind in order to go back to itself. It's not true. Awareness, only awareness is aware. Right now, there are not 70 or so body-minds that are aware. There's just awareness that is aware. And that awareness knows no divisions or limits. It's not from its own point of view, which is the only real point of view, because only awareness knows anything about awareness. From its point of view, it is not divided up into separate bodies.
What happened in the brain is, I'm imagining, like awareness is spitting the 70 bodies.
That's what thought says.
Right.
Yeah, thought, because thought cannot see awareness. Like the character in the movie looks around, he doesn't see the screen. He sees trees and fields and the sky and flowers and friends. And he might travel all the way around the world looking for the screen, but he'll never find it. He's made out of it. Everything he experiences is made out of it, including himself. But yet he cannot find it. So he says it's not there. He knows that he is conscious. He knows, the character knows that he is conscious, that he is aware, but he thinks that his awareness belongs to his body. That is an illusion that's only from his illusory point of view that he feels that. He is made out of the very awareness that he is seeking, but he cannot find it because he's looking for it in the landscape. The awareness, the character in the movie, the awareness with which he knows his experience belongs to the infinite screen. And right now, the awareness with which each of us is knowing their experience is itself infinite awareness, which only seems to be temporary and limited from the illusory point of view of thought. But from its own point of view, which is the only real point of view, because awareness is the only one that is aware, and therefore awareness is the only one that knows anything about itself. From its own point of view, it is ever present, without limits, and inherently peaceful. Once the separate self has risen, and our inherently peaceful, happy nature has been overlooked, that the apparently separate self is on a mission in life to find one thing alone. All separate selves are programmed to do one thing alone: seek happiness. That's what all separate selves are doing.
Or go back to a source, actually.
But that's what I mean. That's what happiness is. What all separate selves are doing. Most are seeking it in objects and substances and relationships. But what they really want, they don't really want the object, the substance, or the relationship. They want the happiness that they believe will be derived from those objects.
Okay, sorry to prolong myself, but as a practical thing, here is fantastic because we are all in the same mood, okay? So what do you recommend to be as much as possible in a class like this, for example, in a retreat?
No, I don't recommend, because a class like this or a retreat is something that is temporary. However often we come, and of course I recommend coming to a meeting like this, but
we forget.
If your happiness is dependent upon coming to a meeting like this, then as long as you're here, you're going to be peaceful and happy. But as soon as you go home, the old unhappiness is going to come back. If you want to be happy all the time, and everybody seeks happiness, permanent happiness. If you want to be happy all the time, you have to look for it in something that is present all the time. It's not rocket science. Yeah, I mean, to look for permanent happiness in an intermittent object or circumstance like a retreat or a glass of wine or a relationship is madness. If you want permanent happiness, look for it in something that is permanent or ever present. Now, what is that?
Awareness.
That's the only place you can find. If you invest your happiness, your security, your identity in anything else, it's a recipe for unhappiness.